everyone to Central Illinois, America's Renaissance Conference. The Illinois State Redbirds, it's a Redbird reunion weekend. Last year's Valley co-champions hosting a well-known bracket buster, the University of Northern Iowa Panthers. Mitch Schultz with you along with Malcolm Huckabee. And a hello to the folks that have been watching Vanderbilt in Florida here. Two teams desperate to win this game, thinking about trying to make a splash in March.
Yeah, big game tonight for both squads. Illinois State looking to get back on the winning track, and Malik Yarbrough is going to have a huge impact on the outcome of this game.
We look at Northern Iowa's starting five. Juwan McLeod, their normal point guard, out with a back injury. That means they'll start for the second consecutive game. Hunter Rhodes, who was very good, having a season-high double-digit performance in a Tuesday win against Evansville. And the three rolled in by Boogie Tinsley. Illinois State has not shot it well in the recent times. That's just 5 out of his last 17 for Tinsley from 3.
And that's a great sign if you're Illinois State. The last time out versus Bradley, they shot 19% from the three-point line. They must knock down some outside shots.
Clint Carlson able to use his dominant hand to get a shot against the zone. I think Illinois State's going to dare Northern Iowa to shoot over the top of them, aren't they?
And that's great patience to start off the game. UNI against the zone. They're going to get a heavy dose of zone versus Illinois State.
The Redbirds in their throwback uniforms dating back to the early 70s. Malcolm, the candy stripe bottoms. We'll talk about the history of these uniforms as David Inchai works hard underneath, and now Boogie Tinsley is fouled hard as he goes to the deck. And Illinois State just cannot lose any more players. They're already down in this game. Taylor Bruniga, Phil Fain, and they've had injuries all year. They can't afford to lose Boogie Tinsley right now.
And this is a tough ball. Great job by Tinsley getting on the offensive glass, but what happened here is he was not able to brace that fall at all, and he is still down on the floor. And as you said, they can ill afford to lose any more players. They're already shorthanded to start this game off without Phil Fain, their best rebounder, and certainly not a sight you want to see for this young man.
Tinsley, very athletic, junior college transfer from Land Lake Community College. He stepped up with the injuries. He had 14 points in a win here against Southern Illinois. A big win for them at home. But Illinois State last year left at the altar on Selection Sunday after being the Valley's co-champion at 17-1 in the league. And this year they have just had, it's like whitewater rafting with Dan Muller and his team. With all of the injuries, they finally have welcome everybody to Illinois State University. It's a Redbird reunion weekend as Illinois State wearing the throwback unis from the early 70s in last year's Valley co-champion and entertaining a well-known bracket buster in the Northern Iowa Panthers. Mitch Schultz with you along with Malcolm Huckabee. Both these teams, though, want to gain some momentum heading into the Valley postseason tournament called Arch Madness.
Yeah, huge game for both teams. Right now, though, Illinois State in the zone versus UNI. Both teams really have struggled shooting the ball from beyond the arc, and that's going to be a key theme for Northern Iowa. Can they knock down some perimeter shots against this zone of Illinois?
Dan Muller, who was a star and a hero here as a player in some glory teams in the late 90s. One of 35 coaches coaching at their alma mater. Just a big weekend for him because they have a lot of former players on campus for this game.
Yeah, he could ball back in his day as well, too. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Missouri Valley Conference, and certainly doing an excellent job with this Illinois State club.
Last year's Valley Coach of the Year, leading the Redbirds to a 17-1 Valley mark.
Let's see how UNI attacks this 2-3 matchup zone versus Illinois State. I think they got to get the ball to that high post or to the short corner area to try to loosen up this zone.
Still 15 to shoot. Now Brown had a big game in Cedar Falls. Now there's Bennett Cook, and he gets fouled after the offensive rebound. The miss from Brown, he had a career-high 5 threes made against Illinois State on January the 24th. And then how big is Bennett Cook in this game potentially for Northern Iowa?
I think huge, and in particular on the offensive glass, as we saw right there. A lot of times the blockout assignments are missed when you're playing a zone as opposed to man-to-man. So that's going to be a key stat we watch tonight, offensive rebounding for UNI in this game.
Cook is the big in the middle of that zone right now. Had 30 against UNLV earlier this year, and then he fires in his first 2 right in the teeth of that zone.
Yeah, that's great patience again. UNI breaking down that zone, not settling for jumpers, getting the ball down low to Cook, and that's not an easy jump hook.
In a throwback weekend here for the Redbirds. And Hunter Rhodes with a deflection. Ben Jacobson, 6th all-time in the history of the Valley, 107-year-old league in wins. He has been really good in the NCAA tournament. 4 NCAA wins, 22 Power 5 wins for Northern Iowa during Ben Jacobson's tenure, including 2 wins over #1 teams. He beat North Carolina in the regular season and then beat the #1 overall seed Kansas back in the 2010 NCAA tournament.
Consistently good as we take a look at the turnover, but back to Ben Jacobson. Calling card defense. Right now, they're #5 in college. Points per game allowed. They hold opponents below 63 points per game, and they just make it really difficult for you to score on the offensive side.
I've likened them. I call them the Wisconsin or the Virginia of the Valley, the way they defend. At that time, Malik Yarbrough, who again is a threat to be a triple-double every time he walks into the gym. He has had some gigantic games this year. Their win at Ole Miss, he had 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists.
One of the most versatile players in college. You talked about it, a triple-double waiting to happen every time he steps out on the court. And he's one of a handful of players that is top 10 in their conference in points per games, rebounds, and assists. He does a little bit of everything for this Illinois State club.
The only issue is taking care of the ball, not only him, but the rest of his teammates. They've just been loose with the ball over the last 3 weeks. You see they're 8-7 in the league. If they're going to tighten the lug nuts on the wheel here, they can be really tough. And there's a guy, that's the second 3 of the season, made by Elijah Clarence. The native of Sweep, his last 3 made. January 17th, his only 3 made.
That's all set up by Malik Yarbrough. Unselfish play with the ball, giving it up out of the double team.
2 threes all year for a guy that you like. He's athletic, had more minutes here in the injuries.
That's a great job of boxing out that time by Carlson, keeping Illinois State off the offensive glass.
With good hands by Clarence, Northern Iowa will keep at the arrow points. The way of UNI. So in the throwbacks, good things happen, including a second 3 of the year by Elijah Clarence.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100% and in part by One-A-Day Mints.
Welcome to Saturday Showcase, presented by 5-Hour Energy. It has already been a wild Saturday here in the Valley. Illinois State trying to build momentum as they head towards Arch Madness in St. Louis, and so far a good start for the injury-depleted Redbirds. Missing one of the top rebounders in the country in Phil Fain. But they've had some guys step up, and Boogie Tinsley is back from being injured earlier in this game.
And that's huge. Obviously, the focus, though, starts with Malik Yarbrough, number 52 for Illinois State. He's a guy that draws so much attention early on in this game. You see Northern Iowa, they're doubling him every time they put him down low in the block on a smaller opponent. So passing out of the double team is going to be key for Yarbrough in this game.
Haldeman right off the bench to trigger from 3. Haldeman has not shot it this year as well as he did a year ago. aspect, Northern Iowa has struggled shooting the ball. They did something hard to do on Tuesday night. They won a game and scored 47 points. Only St. John's, that beat UCF earlier this year, scored 46, has won a game scoring less.
And the key thing in that, they're so good defensively. Evansville, who they played, did not take a free throw in that game. I have yet to see a stat line like that, but that's excellent defense without fouling for UNI.
I love, though, when you mentioned that to Ben Jacobson today at shoot-around, he goes, no, I saw it before. This year, when we played Villanova. They played Villanova and didn't get a shoot against Jay Wright's team.
That's unbelievable, but that's a testament to how well they are drilled and coached on the defensive side, and it's easy to see why they're in the top 10 in points per game allowed in the country.
Yeah, 0 for 0 at the foul stripe, Evansville. I guess Northern Iowa back in November against Villanova. Pickford, good attack right in the seam of the zone, and Pickford's got his first two. Again, the nation's top rebounder under 6'5", Taiwan Pickford.
And that's how you want to attack the zone, Mitch. Get the ball to that high post area, and then you can break it down.
Clarence comes right back. Again, hit only his second three of the season just minutes ago, but this kid might be a developing freshman. Again, from Sweden, now Pickford slips inside the zone. It'll be a goaltend on the Redbirds.
Well, we have two freshmen tonight out on the court. You just talked about it. Taiwan Pickford, the leading rebounder, under 6'5", and then on the other side, Cummings, he is just going to be a phenomenal player as both these guys continue to develop. I would not be surprised to see them contending for Player of the Year in the Missouri Valley Conference.
The native of Senegal gets his first two. Missed the first 13 games of the year. Was good down the stretch last year for Illinois State in the postseason.
That's nice dribble penetration by Clarence, the freshman. And again, just breaking down that UNI defense with dribble drives. Nice setup at the end.
Lowhouse can't shoot it. You leave him open, he'll make you pay. Third in the Valley in three-point shooting percentage, 47% for Wyatt Lowhouse.
Of course, his dad, Brad Lowhouse, the longtime NBA vet, he'd be proud of that stroke right there. And that's a breakdown, though, by Illinois State. He's the one guy they have to find in the zone. You talked about his shooting numbers. When you're playing that zone, you have to identify the shooters on the perimeter.
Get this side. Hey, go.
And Malik Yarbrough comes back here. And again, he's been close to 20 double-doubles. Great spin move. Those stats, he's indefensible.
He is a matchup nightmare. Again, you put a smaller guy on him, he's going to take him down low in the block. He's got the handle and moves to be out on the perimeter. If you put a big on him, he's just really difficult to match up with, and big reason why he faces a lot of double teams in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Redbirds back to the man-to-man. Sean Evans playing with a bad knee. They're trying to figure out his midness. Good hustle play here by the Panthers from a freshman they like in Austin Fife. And Friedman with a bonus too. Ted Friedman doesn't play much, and he gets a stick back.
Right now, Northern Iowa is winning the offensive glass battle. They're getting a lot of second chance opportunities.
Once again, the Redbirds playing without Phil Fain, one of the best offensive rebounders in the country. And they get a three from Isaac Gassman. He was one of the bright spots in their loss to their hated rivals Wednesday night when they lost at Bradley. Yarbrough was 1 on 3, but that's numbers he likes. There's no amount of defenders.
All right, here we got a close game early. Illinois State up 4.
do the Illinois State Redbirds and the 1947 Brooklyn Dodgers have in common? Both had trailblazers by the name of Robinson. Mitch Holtis with you along with Malcolm Huckabee. One of college basketball's great stories here at Illinois State.
It's one that needs to be told more often. Will Robinson, I think, is probably one of the most important stories in college history.
If he were here right now, what would you like to say to him?
I really probably ask him, like, what did he go through? How did he recruit? What did he go through? Because I know it was probably a hard, being the first one. I'd probably thank him for, like, everything that he did, paving the way for other coaches and things like that, and giving an opportunity to kids like us to play the game.
Again, Will Robinson, the first ever Division I African-American head coach in Division I college basketball. And then he handed the baton to this guy who's being honored this weekend, Gene Smithson. Will got it started with Doug Collins, and then Gene got it rolling as well here.
And Malik Yarbrough really posed an interesting question. I asked him, what would he ask him? And he said, look, I would like to know what he went through and how he was able to overcome the many obstacles, the many things that he had to overcome. And it's just a phenomenal story, again, piece of history that happened right here at Illinois State. And again, I think a story that needs to be told more often. And credit to Doug Collins as well. Him sticking at Illinois State, and the rest is history, what they were able to accomplish. Just a phenomenal story.
And the courage of administrators, the athletic director, much like a branch rookie with the 47 Dodgers. Interesting, though, we're honoring Illinois State's honoring Gene Smithson this weekend. Malik Yarbrough's dad, the late Dale Yarbrough, played for Smithson, and his teammates are here watching Dale's son play.
Yeah, and they had a chance to talk to a lot of those guys that shoot around this afternoon, and really, again, just get goosebumps thinking about what Will Robinson was able to accomplish here at Illinois State.
And the throwback uniforms worn by Illinois State for this game, for the reunion weekend. And they were the vintage when Will Robinson, those were the unis Coach Robinson had with Doug Collins here when he became the first African-American Division I head basketball coach.
How about Doug Collins, the numbers he put up here in 3 seasons with no three-point line, no shot clock, and he's still the all-time leading scorer here at Illinois State, over 2,500 points for his career. And 3 seasons, not 4 seasons, 3 seasons with no three-point line. I would say that guy could flat out score.
Love the statue right outside Redbird Arena. And it's the statue of the picture that we saw with Coach Robinson and Doug Collins. Four-point lead here for Illinois State well into the first half. Coming up tonight, we'll have number 14 North Carolina and Louisville. Both teams trying to get position in the ACC right now. The Tar Heels fourth, Louisville right behind it. Tar Heels have won their last 4 while the Cardinals have won 2 straight. This Saturday showcase game presented by 5 Hour Energy begins at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and, of course, on the ESPN app.
Hard to believe Luke May of North Carolina started off as a walk-on and averaging, double-double to start off the season. Just a phenomenal story for North Carolina.
He's tearing it up now. Isaiah Brown tore it up for Northern Iowa the first time they played Illinois State when he had a career-high 20. But he's chilly in this game. And now Illinois State turns it over. An unforced error, as they call a palming violation on Malik Yarbrough.
And Dan Mullen not happy with that call. Certainly that's one that they can call every time down the court on both sides. So tough break for Illinois State.
And Carlson hits the 3. Clint Carlson was so good 2 years ago in the Panthers NCAA run and Arch Madness Championship when they beat Wichita State in the semifinals. He's trying to recapture that. He did have 6 threes in a victory over Texas Arlington earlier this year.
I believe he's the X-factor guy for Northern Iowa. They need to get that third consistent scorer, and he's definitely shown the capability of doing that, and just getting his confidence going, I think, is going to be key.
Yarbrough offline and no foul. In an empty possession for the Redbirds, leading by 1. Yarbrough, after Carlson just hit the three, had to get out on him, and now Malik's got his first foul.
And that's why Carlson is so key when he's knocking down shots. He's a guy that can stretch the defense right here. Poor closeout by Njai, and Carlson made him pay. And when you pair him up with Cook, he spaces the floor, and then you get that high-low action, and Cook got some room to operate down low in the block.
With great backside help, Madison Williams there, and the lob to Cook goes awry for the Panthers. Gassman misses the floater. And Illinois State in a dry spot right now after they hit the early threes. Northern Iowa, they had little on big, and so Madison Williams has drawn his second foul. Northern Iowa has yet to win on the road in the Valley yet this year. See if they can't pull it off today. Yeah, this becomes a almost must-win for Oklahoma in a way. If they lose, they go to 6-9 in the Big 12, and you'll start to hear the name or the word bubble go with Oklahoma as well. And right now Kansas is losing early in the game to West Virginia at Allen Fieldhouse. But the double-doubles here from the freshman ties that game into this one. What about this look at the freshman guard double-doubles in the country?
Yeah, I just look at Taiwan Pickford in this game right here. The leading rebounder under 6'5" in the nation. He does an excellent job on both ends, in particular, though, on the offensive glass. He can impact the game with his rebounding, and he's certainly in some pretty good company on this list right here.
We saw him explode for 23 against Valparaiso. He is struggling to score of late, but I want to ask you, he's had 10 rebounds in both of his last 2 games and has not shot it well. What does that tell you about the kid?
Well, it tells you that he's a complete player, and he can impact the game without scoring. An excellent and sound defender, but certainly his calling card early has been rebounding.
And there's Pickford. Second time in this game he has slipped up from the basement to get buckets at the back of that Illinois State defense, and he's got 6.
And that's how you get out of a funk. Get yourself some easy buckets. That's nice. Twice now he's gone backdoor to get some easy layups in this game.
14 of the 20 points, and now an offensive foul is going to be called on Elijah Clarence. And Dan Muller is none too happy with the call by Roland Simmons.
And right on cue, this is Taiwan Pickford. I said he's just solid. That's how you slide your feet and cut off dribble drives to the baseline. Excellent defense that time by Taiwan Pickford.
So many guys, if they're not shooting it, the rest of their game just shuts down. Not with this guy.
And that's UNI's calling card. Again, Ben Jacobson, he's been a bracket buster in NCAA tournaments, and they get it done on the defensive side. They really make it difficult for you to run offense.
Jeff Malum has now written up Bennett Cook for his second foul on an illegal screen. It's almost like Cook knew it. He kind of glanced off, like, I hope I didn't get caught. And like Dad seeing that you didn't do your homework, now has to go set down because he's got a second foul for Ben Jacobson.
Yeah, that's not a good foul at all. He's so important to what they do offensively and defensively. You don't want him picking up silly fouls like that.
Illinois State 4 minutes without scoring. Clint Carlson with the block against Malik Yarbrough. Northern Iowa playing without Juwan McLeod, who has been their point guard for much of the year. Second straight game with a back injury. And that's the shot that's not been going down for Taiwan Pickford. That did earlier in the season. Leaves room for Clarence. Robbed at the rim.
Both teams have gone cold now from the perimeter. An excellent job by contesting by both teams.
Boy, Malik Yarbrough, you can see him thinking about that. for about 2 clicks. Sends it to the media.
Now, the only thing I don't like about this play right here, if he had a chance to keep possession, yes, it looks good going out of bounds. Yes, it's good help side defense, but UNI still has the ball. I think that's one right there where if he can keep possession, I think that's better for the team. I'm going to go back old school for you. Bill Russell was the best at doing that, blocking shots and then keeping possession.
So if Northern Iowa scores here, it's a moot point. Yeah, doesn't make any difference. It's a no play then.
And that's why you want to keep possession. That really cost you 3 points right there. Good job by UNI, though. Settling down, shot clock winding down, getting a good look.
Clint Carlson's popped in his second 3 of the first half.
We're seeing some great blockouts, again, that time by UNI.
Boy, Haldeman just continues to just struggle. Again, he's off 10 percentage points from his season 3-point percentage, what he shoots in the Valley. Now Carlson's lift fake works because of the threes, and he'll get 2 free throws here.
Going back to my earlier point about Clint Carlson, he can be the X factor for Northern Iowa. He's a big that can step out on the perimeter. He's shown the ability to knock down threes, and then that's just a heads-up play. Poor closeout by Illinois State. Give him a little head fake and then get to the basket.
First free throw of the game for either team gets thrown down by Carlson. Tonight, number 14, North Carolina and Louisville. Both teams jockeying for position in the ACC. Tar Heels 4th, the Cardinals right behind him. UNC's won their last 4. UL's won 2 straight. Saturday Showcase begins. It's presented by 5 Hour Energy. Begins at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. So the other night, Evansville goes the whole game and doesn't shoot one. Northern Iowa goes the whole game, doesn't shoot one against Villanova. We go to the 4:32 mark before somebody gets to shoot one in this game.
Oh, good job. I'm going to say it's excellent D without fouling. Of course, I just jinxed him on that note right there. But both teams really have done a nice job contesting shots thus far in this first half without fouling.
Northern Iowa on a 10-0 run here on the road to lead 25-19, and now Malik Yarbrough will go to the line, and Illinois State finally gets to shoot free ones. Yarbrough's really good at the line. You mentioned he's 4th in the league in scoring, 6th in rebounds, 2nd in assists, 6th in free throw shooting at 79%.
I love his versatility, his ability to create matchup problems. He can do so many things. He's good down low in the block. He's got the handle to step out on the perimeter, lead the break. And again, he's just been a matchup nightmare in this Missouri Valley Conference.
His father passed away not that long ago, and his father's teammates are here today as part of the Redbird reunion. That's the throwback jerseys you see Illinois State's wearing today. But Dell played here for Gene Smithson in the mid to late 70s.
I love talking to Malik Yarbrough about his dad. As soon as we talk about it, his face just lights up, and he tells the childhood stories and the memories. And he said the biggest thing that his father did and what he remembers is how he helped other kids in the neighborhood. It wasn't just about Malik. He had an impact on so many young men. Really a good story.
And a good shot. Yarbrough finally ends a drought of 6.5 minutes without a Redbird field goal. And 3 straight for Yarbrough, 1 at the line and 2 from the floor. Has got the Redbirds within 1 possession.
Let's see what UNI does against this zone. They've been struggling the last few possessions.
Lowhouse set up by Hunter Rhodes.
And that's what you want to do against the zone. Don't float the ball around the perimeter. Get either a dribble drive and then kick out for a wide open 3. Excellent zone offense by Northern Iowa.
And Lowhouse looks strong again. He's also bad ankle injuries, knee injuries. Wyatt Lowhouse looking like his old self. Hunter Rhodes is called for a foul on the take by Matt Hine. Illinois State trying to rally. Clint Carlson having a big senior day.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's Hamburgers, made with fresh, never frozen beef.
Back here, Northern Iowa leading Illinois State 28-22. Now, if Illinois State were the 1947 Brooklyn Dodgers, then Northern Iowa might be the 1956 or the 1960 USA Women's Olympic team. The reason is, with Black History Month, Northern Iowa has its own pioneer, and that is Tanya Warren. Tanya Warren's the head coach at the University of Northern Iowa, the first African-American women's basketball coach in the history of the Missouri Valley Conference. And she was recruited to play by Bruce Rasmussen. You'll know Bruce. He's the chairman of the Division I men's basketball committee. But Tanya Warren had Wilma Rudolph as a hero of hers when she was a young gal in a grade school. Malcolm Huckabee, Mitch Holtis with you as well. She wrote a paper on Wilma Rudolph and the courage that Wilma showed to be an Olympian as a young black female athlete in the 50s. She also had Vivian Stringer as a heroine of her, the longtime coach at Iowa and Rutgers. And so Tanya Warren has left her own footprint on the campus at Northern Iowa.
Well, these stories are so important because these trailblazers had somebody show them the way as well, too. People that they looked up to and said, look, I want to aspire to be there. And, you know, Mitch, having two daughters of my own, this is a story I'm going to be telling them. And they're home watching tonight, and it's just phenomenal, the history that we're able to tell that happened right here in this Missouri Valley Conference. And both schools had trailblazers, and it's stories like this that need to be told more often.
And now they are having their own impact at their individual campuses. The foul on Illinois State. This is going to go on Boogie Tinsley, and they're going to walk the other way because now Northern Iowa's in the bonus, leading by 5. Tanya Warren, outstanding basketball coach, 5th in Valley history in wins, and has a very good women's program at the University of Northern Iowa. In fact, the Panthers overall very good in their athletic program. Football is well known there. David Johnson of the Arizona Cardinals played there along. A lot of other NFL players played at UNI. Pickford's good at the line as well, 77% foul shooter. Excited about this, see what this guy can do over a 4-year career.
Future very bright. On both sides, they have some impressive freshmen. And Tywan Pickford, though, again, he is going to be a name we're going to be calling a lot in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Biggest lead for Northern Iowa at 7. Mitch Holtis with you along with Malcolm Huckabee. A throwback reunion weekend for Illinois State, but right now Northern Iowa is spoiling the party. But Keyshawn Evans says party on. Hitting the backside 3.
I said a key in this game. Passing out of the double team by Malik Yarbrough is going to be a key item in this game. And that's a beautiful skip court pass out of the double team to a wide open Evans.
With Northern Iowa, they miss a skip there, and a great closeout quickly by Boogie Tinsley to change the trajectory of the shot from Wyatt Lohaus. Clarence was testing fate with that one. He had 1 3 out of 20 attempts before he hit his first 3 in this game. When you have 1 for 4 months or 3.5 months, it's rough to get 2 in 1 game.
Yeah, I say that's when he's got to drive. Right now, UNI, I think use of the ball fake. Carlson's able to get that to go, and that's right on cue about the point I was going to make. Against the zone, in particular, Illinois State, they're so active in the passing lanes. Use ball fakes to get the defense moving. That time, Carlson did a nice job ball faking and then getting down the lane for a nice little floater. Carlson
leads all scorers with 12, and now a steal by Pickford and Haldeman at the layup line. And Northern Iowa with the spurt. They haven't had many of these offensively this season, but they had a good first half against Illinois State in Cedar Falls. They led 41-19 at halftime of that game, and then had to cling on to the end to finish that game. But right now, Pickford is playing with a lot of confidence.
And impacting the game without scoring. That time with the steal, leads to break, which would result a uncontested layup on the other end. And we talked about his rebounding numbers. Leads the nation for guys under 6'5" at close to 9 boards per game. That time, though, getting it done with a steal for UNI.
Keyshawn Evans, number 3 for Illinois State, playing through the pain of a left knee injury. Hey, coming up on our Land Rover halftime report, what a wild day it has been in college basketball. As Zubin Mahenti and also Tom Crean will take a look. Michigan State, Northwestern was crazy. Michigan State down 22 at half. Watch the show to see what happened in the second half. And then Kentucky needed a win, and they got it, riding the ship today against Alabama. A use it for lose it timeout by Ben Jacobson, who takes a look at the clock thinking, can I 2-for-1 this, as he leads by 8. We'll see if they play for the 2-for-1. The Panthers trying to get a first road win in the Valley. Back to Normal, Illinois. Illinois State trailing here at home in their reunion weekend, 34-26. Northern Iowa, which has been so challenged offensively, though. How good have they been? They've been creative on the offensive end.
If they can get their offense going, we talked about it. Right now, they're number 5 in all of college basketball in points per game allowed, and they hold you below 63 points. They just make it difficult for you to score defensively, and they're knocking down shots on the offensive side. That's a lethal combination to go along with this potent defense.
Deep 3 from Haldeman, and it's a double-digit Northern Iowa lead. And the Redbirds of Illinois State and Dan Muller will play for the last shot. It has been a bizarre year for Northern Iowa, and there's defense against Yarbrough at the rim. Good first half on the road for Northern Iowa. One of the reasons is Clint Carlson, their senior, who was so good in the postseason 2 years ago. Again, we'll go now to Zubin Mahenti and Tom Crean in the studio to bring you all the news, scores, and highlights. Spoiled by the University of Northern Iowa. Mitch Holt is with you along with Malcolm Huckabee. Now, this is the Northern Iowa people remember that beat Kansas, Texas, North Carolina. What about what UNI is doing today?
They're a dangerous team. We talked about their numbers defensively. They're one of the better defensive teams, not just in the Missouri Valley Conference, but in the country. They hold you below 63 points per game. But their three-point shooting and breaking down the Illinois State zone was the key in that first half. They got excellent ball movement and dribble penetration to set up guys for some open looks, and they shot 50% from beyond the arc in the first half. And that was the story in the first half. UNI's ability to break down the Illinois State zone and then knock down some open shots.
Yeah, but let's be honest here now. Northern Iowa has been the worst team in the Valley in scoring. It has been a struggle for them to get it done, but they have had, their defense has created some offense for them.
Well, this is their calling card. They're going to make it difficult for you to score on the offensive side. That's just a great individual move. And then right here, Tywan Pickford with the nice steal, which led to an uncontested layup on the other. That's what UNI does. We expect that from them. They're going to wear you down on defense, but offensively, that has been the story for them in the first half.
Yeah, look at the shooting. You mentioned it, and the 5 made threes, but the points in the paint have got to be concerning to Dan Muller of Illinois State. He does not have Phil Thain, still out with an injury. They expect him possibly back Wednesday night. But losing Thain in the middle, what does that do for Northern Iowa?
Everything, and he is their best offensive and defensive rebounder. When you take his production out, and now you're forced to match up against a team like Northern Iowa that's going to pound you on the glass, it's a very difficult task to overcome. I think, though, the bigger issue for them, figuring out how they're going to get some hands out and contest Northern Iowa, who's knocked down some shots in that first half. They got to do a better job contesting out of the zone on these three-point shooters in Northern Iowa.
You saw number 3 there, Keyshawn Evans, who has the ball in his hands now. He's the guy that led the rally at Cedar Falls. They were down, they got hit with a 25-0 run in that game. They were down 41-19 and came all the way back, and that's a perfect start of the second half for the Redbirds to get a design 3 from Dan Muller's grease board to get Malik Yarbrough into double figures with 10.
Coaches talk about the first 5 minutes of that second half is so key. I think that's a great start for Illinois State on the offensive side, but defensively, UNI has done a nice job with patience and to get some high percentage shots. Right here, though, that's the start you want if you're Illinois State. Start off with a 3-ball, and it's off of a clean look. Early in that first half, I felt they were shooting some contested threes early in the shot clock. You don't want want to shoot contested ones. If it comes off with dribble penetration to a wide open kick out, that's fine.
It's always good when you get a 6'9" guy that shoots jump shots at the foul line, especially when they go in. Bennett Cook is a 76% foul shooter, and now he has this one drift off. He was 11 of 14 in just 21 minutes at the line in the first game against Illinois State.
I don't think I've seen too many guys at any level jump from the free throw line unless it's my daughter's UNI team, but it works for him, and he's got shooting a high percentage from the line, so I'd say keep doing that if that's working for you.
This is going to be an offensive foul now. Is this on? Yeah, it's on Cook for an offensive foul for the hook. And Ben Jacobson is not happy with Jeff Mallon. The second offensive called in this game on Cook. That's his third personal foul. And see what Ben Jacobson does. He's going to keep Cook in the game.
That's a tough call. It's so difficult to officiate post-play, and I'd like to see that one again down the line, but certainly that's a tough break for Northern Iowa.
The elbows of the offensive player gets past the hips of the defensive player. They're going to call it, but they're also going to call a three here. William Tinsley had one early, and all of a sudden the Redbirds, with 2 possessions, get within 6.
Because Northern Iowa was knocking down shots, now Illinois State is forced to play man-to-man.
Pickford thought Cook was going to the basket. Boy, Yarbrough thought he might go right at Cook and try to get a 4th foul. Said he kind of drifted on him.
Yeah, he did, and you're right. That's what you want to do. In particular, Cook with those 3 fouls. You want to be in attack mode, force him to make a decision, whether I contest or let one go.
Brown, finally a bucket. Again, he had the big game in the first contest between these two teams. He had a career-high 20 and hit 5 threes. But since that game, from 3, just 4 of 16.
They need his production. He's more than capable of scoring the ball. He's just been inconsistent throughout this season.
That's a rhythm 3 knocked down by Madison Williams, and now the Redbirds starting to rain triples.
Northern Iowa's going to have to do a better job disguising their double teams. Right now, Malik Yarbrough doing a nice job picking apart of that D when they double.
Carlson getting some respect now up top after his 12 first half points. Carlson, strong take, and he'll get a couple. And they're going to go call this one on Yarbrough, and that's his second.
This, a 3-pointer by Madison Williams, set up by Yarbrough. Nice pass out of the double team, and I said that at the top. Passing out of the double team by Malik Yarbrough is going to be a key theme in this game. How well he's able to set his teammates up for some open looks.
Carlson's numbers have dropped off at the line as well to 62%. As you see Malik Yarbrough whistled for his second foul. But Carlson had 2 big late free throws Tuesday night in that grinded out victory at home against Evansville. And the door in 3 minutes of the second half has swung wide open for Illinois State.
And another empty possession that time by Northern Iowa.
Pickford and a turnover hurts Illinois State, and Pickford's in double figures.
And that's a smart decision by Brown to make a bounce pass as opposed to a lob, and it was on point. Nice catch and finish by Pickford with the left.
Big time 3 hit by Keyshawn Evans, playing through that injury. 4 second half threes for Illinois State. Keyshawn Evans had 25 in a furious rally in the first game. Was 11-point halftime lead, has been sliced to 4 here. 42-38 lead as Illinois State has already zinged in 4 threes in the first 3.5 minutes of the second half. Now, It leads us to Northern Iowa. Now, this is bizarre. 0-8 on the road this season, Malcolm. Their last road win was last February, a year ago, at Missouri State. They had 18 road wins in the last 3 years. This year, nothing. What's the deal?
It's been their offensive struggles. I mean, defensively, we've been putting up their numbers. They're one of the best defensive clubs, I'll say it again, not just in the Missouri Valley Conference, but in the country. But offensively, it's been a struggle for them. They're dealing with some injuries as well, but I think offensively, that really has been the biggest issue, in particular in the second half, closing out games. They've had some leads. At the end, they really just fell apart, and a lot of it has to do with on the offensive side.
It has been 17 years since Northern Iowa has gone winless in the Valley on the road. Five to shoot. Rhodes is going to have to pull this. He's got a 7-footer on it. Five with a big offensive rebound. And Njai's got his third foul. He was mud wrestling underneath with Fife. Njai with three. Trying to rally in their reunion throwback weekend. They trail by 4 to the Northern Iowa Panthers, 42-38. One of the reasons they've rallied is Malik Yarbrough is finding his friends.
He's been phenomenal in this game. Out of the double team, setting his teammates up for some quality looks. That time with the wide open three, nice skip court pass out of the double team, and then this is just a beautiful touch pass for the lob for Njai, and Malik Yarbrough has had his impact on this game. You look at his numbers, 10 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, but I think the key number, Mitch, only 2 turnovers in this game.
In a game this year against their hated rivals, the Bradley Braves, just 39 miles away, arguably the best rivalry in this league. He had 11 assists in a victory here against Bradley. Twice in his career, he's had 13 assists prior to his time here. And a 5-count called now as a turnover on Northern Iowa out of the media break for Yarbrough. The other thing is Illinois State. Both these teams had good non-conference victories. Illinois State went undefeated in the SEC. One of their wins was at Ole Miss. He had 8 assists in that game with 25 points and 10 rebounds. They also beat South Carolina. Frank Martin's team that last year went to the Final Four lost to Illinois State, and Yarbrough was very effective in that game.
He does so much for this Illinois State club.
We'll have another big Monday Sonic blockbuster for you on ESPN. Trae Young and number 23 Oklahoma almost desperate now to get a win. They have to go to Allen Fieldhouse and play Kansas as KU tries to get revenge from a loss in Norman. 9 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Big Monday presented by Joseph A. Bank.
That's going to be a fun matchup. Devontae Graham of Kansas and the young fella, Trae Young. That's going to be a key matchup in that game as Illinois State continues to shoot at a high clip from beyond the arc.
An 11-point lead is now 1 for Northern Iowa. 5 second-half threes for Illinois State. They only made 6 in the whole game in their loss at Bradley on Wednesday night. Somehow, Keyshawn Evans had to guard Clint Carlson in the middle, and now Evans has got his third foul.
Well, Malik Yarbrough continues to cut up this UNI D. Another beautiful pass out of the double team, and he's just setting his guys up for beautiful wide open looks. They should treat that man to dinner after this game. He's been fantastic passing out of the double.
How good have these Redbirds been being ready to shoot? Like the shooters are in position to trigger quickly.
Well, they know they're going to get double teams with Malik Yarbrough. So, again, good job being patient and unselfish by Malik Yarbrough.
Fouling an issue right now for Illinois State. Haldeman's going to line to shoot a couple, and Clarence has got his second foul. The personal fouls, Njai's got 3. Evans has 3. And Clarence, Williams, and Yarbrough all have 2, and we still have a long way to go. Free throwing a problem now for Northern Iowa. They've missed 4 of the last 5. Haldeman had 15 in a victory over SMU. You're going to see them soon. He also had 15 against North Carolina.
And Haldeman so key last season, MVC, all-freshman team, made a bunch of threes, 49 threes for UNI last season. And again, he's another guy that's a capable scorer. A little bit of a funk as of late, but certainly they needed production.
Yarbrough, great shot fake and an and one opportunity as Malik Yarbrough starting to affect this game in a lot of ways.
Oh, this is a nice ball fake by Yarbrough. Spin move, little head fake, take the hit, and finish. That's a quick spin move. That time he decided not to pass. He spun away from the double team. The help was late, and Malik Yarbrough, again, best way to describe him, matchup nightmare. Just can score at all levels on the court.
First Illinois State lead since the 9:15 mark of the first half. They led 19-18. Again, they trailed by 11 at halftime. But you can ask Michigan State about second half rallies. They were down 22 to Northwestern. Gave up 49 in the first half, 11 in the second half. Haldeman, second time he's gone to the rim. And they're going to count this basket. It'll be a goaltend and 2 points for Spencer Haldeman, who has gone to the ring 2 times in a row.
Well, this is set up. Elijah Clarence is opening up too much on defense, and good job by Haldeman just going right by him, and really poor defense by Illinois State. You have to stop dribble penetration, and that time the lane opened wide up for Haldeman.
And speaking of the goaltend, Boogie Tinsley went right up in the middle of the goal. That's the call that Chris Collins wanted last year in the NCAA tournament against Gonzaga, speaking of Northwestern. Of course, his dad, Doug Collins, was the guy we talked about in the first half, one of the great players in college basketball and NBA history, who played here at Illinois State. This is Doug Collins' court. With Chris Collins, I don't think he's watching this game. He's trying to figure out how he lost that lead to Michigan State. And he's going, yeah, that's the call I wanted a year ago against Gonzaga.
That's the way hoops goes, but certainly here at Doug Collins' court, just a phenomenal story, and what he was able to do here under the legendary coach Will Robinson, the first African-American coach in Division I. Just the history so deep here at Illinois State.
Yarbrough, crab, dribble, and finishing. Right now, it is Malik Yarbrough's game.
Well, you're not going to guard him, well, one-on-one. You have to continue to double. Let's pick your poison with UNI right now. Do you go single coverage and let Yarbrough go to work, or force somebody else to make shots and get the ball out of his hands? 6
lead changes in this game. Again, Northern Iowa led by 11.5. First, second half points for Carlson. And the 4th time it's been clean at the rim in this game for Northern Iowa.
And look where they entered the post. That time at the top of the key. And that's key because the help can't get there. A poor post D, and then beautiful touch on the lob entry pass.
And another strong take. This time Madison Williams does it on his own. Lowhouse 1 step to get inside the half moon, and he's got a 2 to go with his 2 threes.
That's a beautiful looking stroke right there by Lowhouse. Little up fake and then dribble to the left and pull up. That's just excellent offense.
Carlson trying to slip around and deny Yarbrough that time. And the first foul on Clint Carlson.
Well, speaking with Ben Jacobson this afternoon at shoot-around, this was the lineup that he was concerned about. When they go small, Illinois State, and put Yarbrough at the 5 spot, there's not too many 4s, let alone 5s, that are going to guard Malik Yarbrough. And this has been problematic for UNI really all game.
One of the countermeasures that Ben Jacobson was going to use was Bennett Cook against this lineup, and he's got 3 fouls in setting right now. And another unforced error is a turnover against Keyshawn Evans. Just 8 turnovers for Illinois State. Great defense by Illinois State that time. I was just going to mention the patience of Northern Iowa, but Illinois State had the attention. The whole possession, Isaac Gassman, the freshman, his second three, and Illinois State leads by 2.
Malik Yarbrough is putting on a passing clinic. That time in transition, break it down and then set your teammate up for open look.
They lost Lowhouse, but they are fortunate. Madison Williams ran at him just enough. And now at 3 shots at the line as Holdeman fouls Keyshawn Evans on a 3-point attempt.
Well, it's been the Malik Yarbrough assist show. This one right here to Gassman. 4-3. Illinois State is rolling.
Iowa led by 11 at halftime. However, 6 threes in the second half in 8.5 minutes. And Illinois State now has a 51-49 lead. Our Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy and America's Renaissance Conference, the Missouri Valley Conference. Again, a well-known bracket buster. You know Northern Iowa. You've seen these guys before. Been a frustrating road season for them. A great first half. One of the best freshmen in the country in Taiwan Pickford. He has just 2 in the second half. They've seen a 3-point barrage by Illinois State. And now they get 3 free throws from Keyshawn Evans.
And what a difference in halves. In that first half, Illinois State really struggled offensively. Below 40%, 37% from the floor, and 30 from the 3-point line. And now in the second half, 90 from the floor and perfect from the 3-point line, as you said. And credit, though, really has to go to Malik Yarbrough. It's been fun to watch him play under control and then set his teammates up for wide open looks.
It's been such a sad week with what happened with school shooting in Broward County, Florida on Wednesday. Keyshawn Evans is from Broward County. Grew up just 15 minutes from that school. He hits 2 out of 3 free throws here, and it's a 4-point lead for Illinois State. That is tied their biggest lead of the game, and now they can extend it. Tinsley smokes it in there. 4 threes for Tinsley. 3 in the second half. The assist too.
Malik Yarbrough. And if UNI, again, he's drawing so much attention. And he's getting 2-3 guys on him, and he has been unselfish with the ball all night long, and his guys have been ready to shoot.
An 18-point turnaround in the second half. Okay, here we go. Here's the small lineup. Cook goes in and draws the 3rd foul on Yarbrough.
And right here, again, poor post-entry pass by UNI, and then this is what makes Malik Yarbrough special. This is a big that can lead the break. He plays like a point, and that's a beautiful dribble penetrate, kick out to a wide-open shooter, and that has been the story in this game.
So Cook came in to give him the advantage. He saw the turnover, but it led to a foul on Yarbrough. He now sets with a 3rd personal foul, and Njai is back in for Illinois State.
Well, let's see if UNI gets Cook a touch now in this possession.
Because Njai's got 3 fouls of his own. And Cook goes right around Njai to score.
Great recognition by Northern Iowa. As you said, right on cue. Njai with 3 fouls. I would give Cook the ball every possession on the offensive side. Forced him to either double or Njai to have to decide whether or not he wants to contest or let him go.
Cook just has 5 points, but he's been saddled with his own foul trouble. Gassman a contested 3 that time. Brown has really struggled shooting the ball, and this is going to be off Illinois State. It'll be an underneath OB for UNI.
And Brown's coming out because of that possession right there. Coach Biggs is not happy with that. Again, Cook right now has the clear advantage as Malik Yarbrough checks back into the game. I would continue to run my offense through Bennett Cook.
They keep Njai in, though, for Illinois State. You see the two bigs in the middle. They single cook when Njai's in there. Well, when Yarbrough plays at the right pace, this team is lethal. Because you do have to pick your poison. And all of a sudden now, there's going to be a foul here. This is going to be on Njai of Illinois State. A fourth foul on him. And Dan Muller is unhappy. Plus, it's 1-1 at the other end. Double jeopardy for the Redbirds.
Yeah, that's a tough call. I'd love to see that one again. It looked like both guys were going for an offensive rebound here. Let's see. There's Njai in the middle of the screen. Okay, a little push in the back. You don't call that one. And then, okay. Now, the initial push in the back, I like that. I thought they were calling out him going after the loose ball, but that's a good call by the referees. He did push in the back on that initial burst to try to get an offensive rebound. So good job that time. Refs were right on top of it.
So Njai must set with his 4. And Haldeman can get it back to 1 possession if he hits his second free throw. It's a big turn of events. And Dan Muller forced now to play small again. This is really a unit without a 5, right? I mean, you got a bunch of 3s and 4s or 2s.
UNI changes up their defense. They went to a little 3/4 court pressure, and then now they're back into a 1-2-2 matchup zone.
And if you're a Northern Iowa fan, you don't see this often. Tinsley, what a second half. Moogie Tinsley, 15 points, 4 second-half threes. He's got all of his points from 3 in the game.
If you're running a clinic on how to break down zone defense, run that last clip. You can't do it any better. Get the ball to the middle and then kick it out to an open shooter for a 3.
Yarbrough's got his 4th foul. And Dan Muller's got to be careful. He's been warned by Jeff Mallon. But 4 fouls on Yarbrough. Unless they give this to Tinsley.
And Dan, well, definitely not happy. Both guys fighting for a position. Oh, yeah, that's a tough call. Oh, well, okay, right there, yeah. The swing, although it looked like it was obviously not on purpose, he did catch Cook in the face. You see right here, okay, nothing. And then Yarbrough swings his arms and then catches Cook right in the face. He's got to call something. And again, Coach Mullen may not like that call, but when you look at the replay, Yarbrough clearly hits him in the face.
5 missed free throws in the second half, though, for Northern Iowa. Evans, and he earns a trip.
Well, having Keyshawn Evans back in the lineup is so key for these moments. In particular, we talked about it, Phil Fain out of the lineup for Illinois State, and Keyshawn Evans is a guy that when Yarbrough goes to the bench is more than capable of filling it up.
Evans now with 9 in the game. Big Monday, Sonic Blockbuster, ESPN, Trae Young. Can he get his shooting eye back? He has 6 for his last 41 from 3. And now to get it right, he has to go to Allen Fieldhouse to take on Kansas. Big Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Oklahoma beat Kansas in Norman. Of course, Texas Tech leading the league right now, and Taiwan Pickford leading the charge with a real strong angle take.
And that's a big bucket for Northern Iowa.
And Evans aggressive at trying to go to that same spot.
Illinois State is just a completely different team without Malik Yarbrough out on the floor. Not much ball movement, and really they struggle to get any offense going with him on the bench.
Carlson is making that in the first half. He has 14, but 12 in the first half. And now it's drop kicked out of bounds right back to Northern Iowa. Illinois State, a giant second half, fueled by Boogie Tinsley's 4 threes. Illinois State was down 11 at half. They now lead by 6 here at home. In a reunion weekend for them, our Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. Mitch Holtis with you along with Malcolm Huckabee. Now, that's the good news for Illinois State. Here's the bad news. And this is real bad news. We got a long way to go. Inja and Yarbrough both with 4. And if one or both of those guys go out, it presents a real strategic problem because 2 bigs are not playing because of injury. As Phil Fain is out, so is Taylor Bruniga. There's no other bigs really to put out there for the Redbirds.
Yeah, I think Yarbrough, obviously you got a decision to make. When do you put him back into the game, and who do you put him on defensively if you're Illinois State?
Boy, Illinois State's perimeter defense has been better, though, in the second half, hasn't it? Hustle by Inchai. That's a 7-footer doing that.
Well, those plays right there add up. And at the end of the game, those little 50-50 balls, hustle plays, sometimes those are the difference between winning and losing games. Inchai, that's just a great individual hustle play.
A loose ball, and it's going to be a tie-up. Northern Iowa's got the arrow at 6:25 to go in the game, and again, Northern Iowa led 37-26. Watch this, a 7-footer making this play.
Great post defense, hustle around, and then save it, go up into the stands. That's just beautiful, and what you want to see as a coach, your guy getting after it, and then keeping the possession alive.
I will say this, it took him fewer steps to get there than it would Keyshawn Evans. But how many 7-footers have the agility and the hustle to make that play?
Yeah, he looked really agile on that. And Malik Yarbrough back into the game for Illinois State.
Illinois State, the bottom of the valley in scoring defense, but this second half, and Boogie Tinsley with the rejection and just 4 to shoot now for Northern Iowa. What a half he's had. A career high 15 for William Boogie Tinsley.
And this is just great recovery. Looked like he was going to get beat for the dribble drive. Comes out of nowhere and comes up with the block. That's how you do it. Stick with the play. Don't give up on it.
Lob to Cook, and he gets it on the inbounds play with 4 to shoot.
That's a beautiful set play. That time they knew they didn't have much time with the shot clock winding down. A nice little reverse spin, and then the pass was on point.
I like the look off, too, by the passer on the inbounds play. Tinsley, his night. 6 threes, 18 points, 5 threes in the second half, a career high.
Right now, Yarbrough's guarding Bennett Cook. If I'm UNI, I'm going right at Cook to let him get a touch.
And a shot made and a foul. Tinsley, one of his few mistakes of the game, fouls a 3-point shooter, a 4-point opportunity for Northern Iowa.
And this is just a nice release, poor closeout. And Spencer Haldeman with the 3. Again, going back to last season, he was a guy that was a Missouri Valley Conference all-freshman team, made 49 threes, and certainly a guy that they're going to be counting on for his production. That's a huge 3 and completion of the 4-point play.
And a new career high for Haldeman, 16 points for Haldeman. And how do you make up a disadvantage? You get 4 in one trip. Yarbrough shoots this time.
What hasn't he done in this game? Passed out of the double team, check, set up your teammates. Dribble drives for finishes, check. And now he's knocking down threes. Malik Yarbrough just has been impressive all night long for Illinois State. Right here, again, a nice offense by Illinois State, excellent spacing, and Yarbrough continues to be on fire from the offensive side.
How alert was he, though? Once he passed it, then he ran right to the corner at that three-point spot. It's the old Hoosiers line. Don't get caught watching the paint dry. He passed it and then sprinted to the opposite corner.
He's got 19 now, closing in on a double-double, 8 assists. And again, I go back to the key number for him, only 2 turnovers in this game. He has been locked in.
Gassman, another assist. Yarbrough loves it.
Unselfish basketball. You know you're going to get a double team if you're Malik Yarbrough. He's been a willing and able passer all night.
9 assists for Yarbrough to go with his 18 points.
That's a beautiful block out. That time by Yarbrough. Although he didn't get the board, he kept Bennett Cook off the offensive glass.
Yarbrough over Carlson. That time Carlson with great defense. And this is going to go to Northern Iowa. Malik Yarbrough putting on a show on a reunion weekend.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%.
Right now, Kansas trailing West Virginia. Oklahoma was beaten at home today by Texas. And Trae Young trying to kind of get his game back. He was a high-volume scorer today. They got a lot of those late. Now, speaking of high-volume everything, what about Malik Yarbrough? And Malcolm, this line also, when you add in his just 2 turnovers, this kid has been terrific today.
Throw in 1 block and 3 steals. He has been all over the court on both sides for Illinois State. He is one of the most exciting players to watch. He is so difficult to match up with, and Illinois State really right now has ran their offense through him, and UNI has been unable to stop him.
You mentioned it earlier, but only one of 15 in the nation, the top 10 in the league in points, rebounds, and assists. UNI trying to go right inside. Pickford, the best rebounder in the nation under 6'5", saves the possession. And that's the shot that hasn't gone in for Pickford. He has 1 for his last 19 from three-point range.
And that one looked a little fatigued. It's a clean look. It's just really not close that time by Tywan Pickford.
So he doesn't shoot it. What's he do? He gets the steam.
UNI having a difficult time entering the ball down low to Cook. They're trying to get him isolated on the block.
Great defense. Yarbrough poked it out of there on post defense. Illinois State trailed by 11 at halftime. It has been a 3-point second half barrage, and Malik Yarbrough playing a game that his late father would love in front of his father's former teammates. Lohaus in transition. Pickford men down and an easy lay-in on a stick back by Carlson. And it's a 5-point game at 1:44 to go in the game. A Sports Center after the Oregon Ducks and UCLA tonight on ESPN. Linda Cohn and John Anderson. Full recap. It's NBA weekend slam dunk 3-point skills contest. And the teams that made their cases for a top seed. Michigan State with a ferocious rally today in Rosemont, Illinois. And the debut of SC featured Bubba, NASCAR's first full-time African-American Cup driver since the 1970s, how he could be the face of change. Sports Center, 12:15 a.m. Eastern on ESPN and, of course, on the ESPN app. Another full Saturday in Illinois State, trying to make it a winning home Saturday. These guys 9-3 at home this year. Their only home loss in the Valley was to Loyola. And Loyola coming into this weekend with a 2-game lead in the Valley with 3 games to go.
A huge game for Illinois State and for UNI. We talked about their road woes. Let's see if they can try to close this game out and make up for this 5-point deficit.
Carlson, too much bump on Yarbrough. And still, Yarbrough will go to the line here. No, he will not. That's just the 6th team foul. Just 6 team fouls on UNI.
Carlson out there with his hands on his knees. And credit Malik Yarbrough. He's been chasing him around all night.
Yarbrough goes after Cook. 20 points, Malik Yarbrough. And Pickford gets fouled. And a good foul, actually, by Evans, although it's his 4th. It was going to be a dunk by Pickford.
A nice heads-up play by Carlson. But the story continues to be Malik Yarbrough. Little shake, bake, take the hit, and finish. And then flex a little bit. Matchup nightmare. I'll say it again. Not too many guys can match up with him and his skill set. He goes about 6'6". He can handle. He can go down low on the block and take a smaller defender. And defensively, he has been flying around the ball, getting it done on both sides tonight for Illinois State.
20 points, 9 assists, 5 boards, only 2 turnovers. Northern Iowa within 5, but Malik Yarbrough, another stellar performance.
And this is what he brings to the table right here. Versatility. He can go down low, smaller defender on him, take him on the block, and raise up over him. But I think the thing that really makes him special, a special player, is his passing ability and his ability to make the game easier for his teammates. You look at what he's done tonight, 18 points, 9 assists in this game. He has set his teammates up all night long for open looks.
You know, the other thing he's done that's sneaky that we didn't show that I really haven't talked about, Mitch Holtis with you along with Malcolm Huckabee, has been his defense on Cook here over the last 3 minutes, because this was thought to be a disadvantage to have to put him at the 5. His agility in defending the post right now has kept this lead for Illinois State.
Well, I truly believe he's going to be a guy that's going to play for a paycheck at the next level, whether that's overseas or an NBA team looks at him and all it takes is one. But he is a versatile player. He's a guy that can play multiple positions, 1 through 3 at the next level, maybe even the 4 in certain situations. But he has been a handful to match up with in the Missouri Valley Conference.
6'6", but with a longer wingspan than that. Illinois State trying to get it to break the timeline. And now Northern Iowa down 5 is going to have to foul a 74% shooter in Keyshawn Evans. This is 1-1. And Lowhouse fouls, but now Evans goes to the line. Missed his first, has made his last 4. Last year played with Paris Lee, who was the Larry Bird Player of the Year in the Valley. Illinois State last year went 17-1 in the league. co-champion. And now he misses the front end of a 1-and-1.
If you're UNI, you don't necessarily need a 3.
But you need something, and you get nothing except a Yarbrough rebound. And Malik Yarbrough. We'll have 1-and-1 here. We mentioned about the Loyola Ramblers and Porter Mosier. We're going to have them next Saturday in Chicago against Illinois State. That could be really fun.
That could be the matchup of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference regular season. And certainly we're going to have some star power in this one. Obviously, we've seen on display tonight Malik Yarbrough. Clayton Custer, the phenomenal point guard for Loyola. That is going to be a fun matchup next Saturday.
Pickford still drive from 3. Carlson with the 2. Northern Iowa out of timeouts. And now they foul Madison Williams. And it'll be the 5th foul on Isaiah Brown of Northern Iowa. But to set this up, Loyola plays tomorrow. What we did not talk about, Southern Illinois, second there, and Barry Hinson is right there, and they play Loyola Wednesday night. But let's look at the resume. Now, this is tricky. This takes some explanation. They're 20-5. But 3 of those losses were when Clayton Custer was out of the lineup. He was injured. I mean, and look at this. Quality wins. How many? They go to Florida and win. And Florida was number 5 in the country at that time.
You can talk RPI, BPI. And those numbers are important. But I also look at the eye test. And to me, Clayton Custer is not only one of the better guards in the Missouri Valley Conference, but in the country. The Iowa State transfer, and then they got a big Krutwig that to me is going to be a guy that contends for Player of the Year in the Missouri Valley Conference. They got balance on offense. They're sound defensively. They're coached well. And they're a team that I think, regardless whether or not they win the conference tournament, is well deserving of a bid in the NCAA tournament.
And they got Dante Ingram. They've got some experience on that team, a public school player out of the city of Chicago. I mean, it's just a blend. They've got a really nice blend on that team. And Ben Richardson on that team, the Navy SEAL, who was the high school teammate of Custer. They have depth. You mentioned Krutwig. That's what Loyola did not have last year, because Andre Jackson's on that team, the junior college transfer from Texas, playing in his senior year. But they'd have to go small, and when they went to the bench, it just kind of was the depth of those guys. This year they have a bench, they have a big, and they got plenty of guys that can shoot it and defend.
Well, when you look at Loyola and any really good team, you look at balance, how they can score, how they can beat you. They have 5 players averaging double digits. They have a star in Clayton Custer, a point guard that can break down the defense and control the tempo of the game. They have a freshman in Krutwig where they can dump it down low in the block. But I think the X factor, which is depth. They have great depth, and then defensively they're sound. They can beat you in a variety of ways. They're really a fun team to watch and really difficult to play against.
Part of our Saturday showcase brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Illinois State with a furious second half. Lead by 7 after trailing by 11 at half. It'll be another showcase next Saturday. Gentile Arena in Rogers Park in Chicago. It'll be one of the games you want to watch next weekend. And now they foul Hunter Rhodes. And Illinois State makes a mistake, up by 7. And Dan Muller's like, you got to be kidding me. Now they're going to get a chance to score with the clock stopped.
And just really inexcusable. No communication on the screen that time. And you have to be talking, whether you're switching or hedging, but you can't come off and allow a guy to be that clean. And then you compound it by fouling him, and referees are looking at to see whether or not it's a 2 or a 3, and that's clearly a 3-point attempt, and just a poor decision all around by Illinois State.
In Northern Iowa, great first half. 5 3-pointers to lead by 11. But man, Boogie Tinsley second half, a career high. 5 threes made in the second half alone. So there's a look at Rhodes on the attempt. And truthfully, at 13.5, it's really the only chance UNI's got. And it's Jeff Malum. Checks in from my man Huck. Make sure it's 3.
And
did you make that decision?
You know, I want to give the refs some props. They've made some excellent calls tonight. They've reviewed the ones that there was a gray area on, and it's been a cleanly officiated game in this one tonight. And certainly they'll give credit to Illinois State in this second half, as UNI still with some time left on the clock.
Hunter Rhodes getting his second career start. McLeod still out with a back injury. So now it's a 4-point game. Northern Iowa's out of timeouts. Yarbrough wants it. Illinois State has a timeout, and they're going to call a foul on Friedman. Jeff Malum is going to call a foul on Ted Friedman. And Yarbrough can, in essence, end this.
Just when I was singing the praises of the refs, I think that's one that they missed right there. But they're calling it a cylinder foul, which basically they did not give Malik Yarbrough enough space, but that's a tough one right there.
Yarbrough again good at the line. He was 11 of 12 in their victory over Bradley. Here they lost to their rival in the rematch during the midweek. I mean, he's 6th in the league in free throw shooting as well. Just throw that in his resume.
Well, you didn't jinx him. Typically when you say that, a guy misses it. That one was nothing but net.
And now Rhodes hits a 3. It's a 2-point game at 3.3. If Illinois State can't get this in bounds, we've got news.
Let's see if Illinois State runs somebody long.
Or just hand it to Yarbrough when you've done everything else.
Well, Malik Yarbrough has got 2 free throws to seal this one. If he makes only one, obviously UNI still has a chance to knock down a 3 to either tie or win it if he misses the first.
UNI, if they lose this game, will have one more crack to win a Valley Road game. Again, it's been 17 years and only twice ever in UNI's Valley history that they've gone winless on the road. They go to Valpo midweek next week before the Panthers close at the McLeod Center. They will close out at home against Missouri State. And what are we reviewing here?
Well, the only thing I can think of is if they're checking to see how much time should be on the clock. Obviously, every tick counts. That's really the only thing I can think of right now. And that is exactly it. They're trying to determine how much time, and I think there should probably be about 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's a good call. They're going to put 0.2 of a second back. So Yarbrough makes 2. It's a moot point. But if it's just one of the 2, it's still game on, because 3 seconds, you can get something done.
And I think that's huge, having those 0.2 seconds back on 3. Certainly you have time to get something going towards half court with the pass, and then the guy has a chance to maybe take one dribble for a 3. But as you said, if Yarbrough knocks down this one right here, it really is a non-factor.
Yarbrough lost his father not long ago. His father's teammates are here as part of a reunion weekend, hence the throwback uniforms. A fitting night for Yarbrough. He's going to end it with that, and Illinois State's going to get the home victory. credit to the Redbirds of Illinois State. What a second half.
Well, Malik Yarbrough's father, Adele, is sitting down smiling on the performance that this young man put on tonight. He was fantastic for Illinois State.
79-75 Illinois State for Malcolm Huckabee. I'm Mitch Holtis. Thanks for watching. Next, Fort Worth, Oklahoma State, and TCU.